everyone. My name is Kat. I would be lying if I said this was my first video because it's not. I've tried a few times to record, but posting on YouTube is so hard. Like editing and I had originally wanted to do wrestling, but then I kind of got a little unmotivated because of how many creators there already are that do wrestling stuff. So I kind of was like, like no one's gonna care. But then, I was like, there's gonna be a few people. And another thing I want to address this. So for some reason, I can't get my microphone to work. I don't know what's going on. I'll ask my boyfriend when he gets home. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just grab this headset that has a microphone, and this is what I'm working with. Right now, I'm literally using a webcam to record because I don't have a camera. Maybe later on I'll invest in one. Let's see. So, like I said, I want to start making wrestling content. I specifically grew up watching WWE. I remember watching a little bit of like Lucha Libre, like what's it called? I think the company it's AAA. I think. I don't think I was allowed because that brand was really something else. And then I started watching WWE maybe around like 2000. I remember I started watching it in 2006, but I don't remember everything I watched because I mean obviously it's like a long time ago, but I remember mostly like around the 2008 time. So I basically wanted to use this video to kind of just introduce myself and kind of talk about how I was introduced into wrestling, what I was watching at that time, like what was going on. So I think that would be like a great video, before diving into like other stuff about wrestling, like more current stuff, and kind of just walk you through like my journey. Recently, it's been quite known that wrestling, I feel like, has been at its most popular. I started watching wrestling around the age of, I remember I was in kindergarten. I'm in college now. So I was probably like 6, but I don't remember exactly everything that happened. I remember mainly like stuff from 2008 and 2009 when I like would say that I have like full memory of like what was going on, like the storylines and stuff. So for me personally, I always preferred SmackDown over Raw when I was a kid. Not only because I mean Raw was on a Monday and I'm like, oh shit, like can't stay up late tonight because I got school the next day compared to like Friday Night SmackDown where I would be so excited to come home and be like holy shit, like tomorrow's Saturday, like tonight's Friday Night SmackDown, it's gonna be fucking amazing. I forgot that channel. I think was it For You Kids or I don't know, but it was like some like cartoon thing. They would show anime. They had stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh. They had Dragon Ball Z Kai. They had what else? They had Sonic X. So Friday Night SmackDown was like really good. It's also crazy, like just scrolling through TikTok and just seeing people post about remembering certain wrestlers that we used to watch, like Jimmy Wang Yang. I was like, oh my gosh, on Peacock, luckily you can go through all like the seasons of like Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. Who else? The Great Khali, obviously. We had Finley. We had Festus, if you remember. Biscuits and Gravy theme song. Evan Bourne. Evan Bourne was on ECW, but I'm just kind of trying to like remember all these people. I remember Dolph Ziggler. I think I remember when he debuted. Carlito, Chavo Guerrero. I remember when the Bella Twins also debuted, which is really crazy. I don't know if you remember when they would like switch under the ring, and then like everyone was like, "Oh, like what the hell? Like how are you doing this so quickly? Like just going under the ring and then just popping out and like having all this energy." So that was like a really nice thing to remember. I remember Big Daddy V. Um, Alicia Fox, I remember, if I'm not mistaken, she's the one that appeared on that video where Edge was cheating on Vicky Guerrero, right? Like, I think he was making out with her. I would say, growing up, my favorite wrestler was definitely Jeff Hardy. I was always a huge Jeff Hardy fan. Love this moveset, love this storylines, and obviously the man is gorgeous. Anyways, Who else did I really enjoy? I love The Undertaker. I remember being scared of him. Like I always thought that he was really this like supernatural entity, and I also really believed that him and Kane were siblings. Like I really thought they were brothers. It's crazy because I feel like the same way, and like I believed in Santa Claus, like the same thing. I believed everything on WWE. Like I literally thought that all these storylines were real. Like I really thought that these like personas were these people's like real like personalities. Like so yeah, so it was really like nice just looking through this list of those people that were on the roster in 2008. Like I remember when Sheamus debuted, that was really fun. Like I said, I think when you're young, you kind of see these people and you're like, they're a piece of shit. But no, they're really nice people. I remember I used to hate Randy Orton. I was like, oh my god, like Randy's such a dick. Like how dare he like RKO the whole McMahon family? Like how dare he kiss Stephanie McMahon? And or when like Jeff Hardy left the WWE, I was crushed because for a long time until this day, I do not like CM. And that's a really big hot take because I know a lot of people love him because this was like in 2009, I think. Like the whole Jeff Hardy versus CM Punk situation. Like I said, I believed everything. Like I thought everything was real, you know. So I really thought that this man left and I was devastated. And like I said, till this day, I have some beef with CM Punk. Someone else that I absolutely hated growing up was Edge, but then now as an adult, I truly appreciate his heel persona that he had at the time. Because I'm like, dang, like if you really hated these wrestlers, just know that means he did a freaking good job at like playing that persona. Because, like I said, I absolutely hated him like so much. And then like from the divas, I mean, I absolutely love the divas. I remember Natalia. Natalia was one of my favorite wrestlers. I absolutely loved Melina. I really loved Maria. Maria was also one of my favorites. Michelle McCool was really awesome. There was like so many super or female superstars that I absolutely fell in love with, and they inspired me to want to become a wrestler. But I never became a wrestler. So this is, like I said, a quick overview of like all the stuff that or like all the things I remember and I remember watching. I stopped watching WWE around I think 2012. And that's where I think I have like the least memories of WWE because I even had the game. I remember I used to play that thing all the time. I stopped watching wrestling around 2012, and that's only because I moved. Um my parents were like, you know what, like we're moving back to Mexico. So like we moved back to Mexico, everything is in Spanish. They still had wrestling, but everything was in Spanish. And at that time when I was 12, I spoke Spanish, but not enough. If you know what I'm saying. Like it was the very surface level, like simple things, just like what you can answer with a yes or no. That kind of ruined it for me when I went to Mexico when I lived there because I lived there for like 7 years. So I stopped watching wrestling for like 7 years. I still would keep up with like certain stuff about like who was like the champion and like blah blah blah. But yeah, I stopped watching it because everything was in Spanish. Like the commentators were in Spanish, and then the cable in Mexico, you are able to change the language. So there's certain channels where you were able to change the language. Unfortunately, wherever they streamed or WWE, you could not change that. Like the commentators would speak in Spanish. Personally, like I said, I was 12. I was just like, they kind of just ruined it for me. So I stopped watching, which is really sad because I wish I would have kept watching. Never mentioned how did I start watching it. I really don't remember. I have an older brother, so I do remember him, like just watching wrestling. I guess one day casually, and I probably just started watching with him. I'm assuming that he learned about it through his friends because some of his friends were like heavily into wrestling, like WWE. Like they all had the shirts, like the merch. Like one kid out had the John Cena like WWE Championship like spinning belt, which was crazy. Cause I'm like well, nowadays those are crazy expensive. Like the belts are really expensive, the replicas. So I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, like how did this kid get a hold of it. Like, did his parents really drop like I don't know how much money on getting him a replica? Because that was like a really good replica. It was not one of those like, the ones they sell at Walmart, like the little cheap ones. No, like this was like a legit replica. I remember. And I think that's how I started getting into it too, because basically my brother's friends were my friends because I had no friends, so I would just hang out with him and his friends when we were kids, and they were always like wrestling and stuff. So I think that's just kind of how I got into it, which I'm very glad. I was poor. I mean, yes, poor, or I guess my parents made enough money to help us survive, have like a roof over our heads, but they never took me to any wrestling shows. Um, I'm assuming they were a lot cheaper because they're hella expensive now, but even back then, I guess at the time, like whatever the economy looked like, it probably was also expensive. So I did not go to my first show until like 2 years ago. And then that's another thing I want to talk about, like how I got back into wrestling. So I've always had like a passion for this, like I loved it. And I think I started watching it back like in 2022. And that's just because one day, like, I think at the time it's when I was dating my boyfriend, or when we started dating, I mean, like, let's just scroll through TV and see like what's available for us to watch because we had nothing to watch. So then we saw that the Royal Rumble was going on, and I was like, oh my gosh, like WWE, and that's where we kind of started bonding, and we were like, oh, like you like WWE, like I love WWE too. So we kind of just started watching it, and then there was gonna be a show. There was gonna be a Monday Night Raw later that year here in Washington, in Seattle. So I was just like, like we gotta go. Like I had never had a chance to go when I was a kid, like ever. So now that I'm an adult and I have adult money, like I have to go. So I did. I ended up going with my boyfriend. It was so much fun. The seats were alright, Definitely different experience watching it in person, like live, compared to watching it on TV. Because at least when you watch it on TV, like you get to hear what the commentators say, and in person, like it's pretty dead silent. And I also got in trouble for recording, which was crazy because I'm like, there's a lot more people recording, and I'm surprised that I'm getting in trouble. Like the guy was like, yeah, security was like, if you're recording, like you're gonna be kicked out. Keep in mind, I made sure not to record while there was commercial breaks, which was crazy too because usually, like here where I live, um, so East time, they usually start streaming WWE or like SmackDown or Raw, which now is different because Netflix or Raw is on Netflix, but they used to show it or at 8 p.m. here Pacific time, and then Eastern time it's like 3 hours ahead. So WWE is already posting stuff on Instagram. So then, like, what was the problem with people recording? That's kind of how I got back into wrestling. I would love to make a longer video about like certain stuff that I remember, or like an analysis of what was going on in like in the 2007, 2008, just kind of to refresh my memory. I'm actually going through like a little marathon where I'm just rewatching like every single season. Like right now, I decided like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna go all the way back, but at least I'll go back to where I remember, which was like in 2008. Like I said, 2009. I would also love to make more videos about whatever like it's happening on like currently. John Cena's heel now. Did not expect that. Cody Rhodes is our champion. Did not expect that either. I remember him being on the Legacy, being one of Randy Orton's little henchmen. So a lot has changed. It's been crazy. Whoever wants to watch, very happy, welcome. I really want to focus on doing a lot more WWE like wrestling content. Currently that's the only promotion that I watch. I would love to, watch more, but I have a job and I'm a full-time student, so you can always get what you want. But yeah, like thank you so much. Thank you for those small amount of people that I want to actually watch my content, and you're the reason why I want to do this and like keep, pursuing making more wrestling content. So thank you so much. Please subscribe, leave a comment, please be nice. I just want to let everyone know that this is a, safe space. So I don't want any negativity. You don't have to agree with what everyone else has opinions on. So again, this is Kat. Hope you enjoy. Bye.